your experience having deep playoff runs in OKC and in Houston, how would you compare where this team is at this point of the postseason and how much you're clicking compared to how you've played in or those teams played in your other experiences?
I think, those experiences where it's Oklahoma or Houston, throughout some period of the season, we've reached like this is how we need to play like our best basketball going into the postseason. Sometime within the season, we reached that point. I think for us, we don't know yet, and we haven't reached that point because we haven't been together for a long time. So I think our goals, for individually and for a team, is to continue to get better every single day, whether it's in practice, learning something, or as now we're in the postseason in the second round. So I think just learning and continuing to get better, and every single day, that's the goal.
But is there any sense that you get that this team has something? Obviously, you have a ton of talent, but a sense that you get that this team could accomplish all of those goals because of how well you played over the last 5 games?
Yeah, of course. Like, especially when we get stops, like multiple stops in a row, and we go out and we get layups and threes from all of our guys. It's like it's very difficult to beat us, and so has to be our mindset, and that's what we've been focused on is defensively. Learning experience game 3 in Boston, where we didn't hang our hats on the defensive end, and it showed. And with that, Jason Tatum get 50 on us, and so I think from that point on, defensively we were locked in, and we were engaged, and we had spurts offensively where it's like, sheesh, like this is crazy. And so now that defensive mentality, we got to have that consistently.
Greg Logan with Newsday.
James, I'm sure that in all your playoff experience, you've always been trying to win a championship and so on. But is there any different level of excitement for this one because of the guys that you're teamed together with and what you've seen from them in this short sample size? Do you feel it's far more realistic to win a title right now?
So every year, your plans is to win a championship. I think that's every basketball player's dream and mindset every single year. Obviously, in reality, it's only a handful of teams that have an opportunity, and we're one of those teams this year. So I think the excitement is there, but I think just the focus, is the most important thing. For myself, I think, and just trying to like rub that in that focus level and that engagement to detail. Into every one of my teammates. Obviously, we all are excited and locked in, but just you got to keep reiterating it. You got to keep making sure that we know how important detail is and how important each possession is. And the more I can do that, the more engaged we'll be. I think our team will be really, really good because obviously offensively we're great. It just we got to have some consistency, which we've been in these last few games.
Malika Andrews with ESPN.
Hey, James, I have 2 for you. One, I think what was one of your, if not your first, one of your very first games in Brooklyn was against Milwaukee. How much do you take from that, if anything at all, given it wasn't with everybody, and how much has changed since then?
We pretty much know how they guard. They're a very good defensive team. They're very long. They got, a few individual, defensive players. So we know how they guard, and not just that game, but the game where I didn't play, the 2 games where I didn't play in Milwaukee. Just kind of got to sit back and watch those games and see how they guard and see things that we can capitalize on and things that will be effective against them. So, we all know they're a great team on both ends of the ball. And it's not going to be an easy challenge for us, but we're up for it.
And then Steve Nash said yesterday that on paper, this has the makings of being a classic series. As a fan of the game, as someone who studies the game, what do you think needs to go into it in order to make that come to fruition? And is that proposition exciting at all to you?
Yeah, it's always exciting, especially when you get deeper and deeper into the postseason. Like that means you're one of those really good teams. So, and the thing about this series and even in the postseason, like once you get deeper in the series, you get 3-4 games into the plays don't matter anymore. It's about individual will, individual skill, and guys just going to go get it. And both teams have that. So it's whoever go take it.
Alex Schiffer with The Athletic.
Hey, James, you talked a little bit about how they guard. Just Kevin says how Jrue Holiday is one of the best on-ball defenders in the league, and he was matched up against you a lot in that January game. Just what about him makes him a tough matchup on that end of the floor?
I've been knowing Drew since high school. Like we've been competing since high school. So just he can move his feet very, very good, and then he's strong. And that right there in itself as a guard, you can move your feet, you're athletic, and you're strong to play against guards and bigger guards. He's difficult, which I don't know. I mean, he doesn't get a lot of credit, on our defensive teams, which I don't know why, but he's elite. So we got to make sure that we keep moving him around and just make the job easier for ourselves.
Christian Winfield with the New York Daily News.
Hey, James. Those two back-to-back losses in Milwaukee that you weren't a part of. I mean, both of them come down to the end. One of them, I think Giannis goes for 49. I'm just wondering if you guys feel more confident given that you didn't play in those games and that those games came down to the wire and that Giannis had to go for 50 for them to win.
Yeah, and there's so many things on that film session that we could have corrected or that we could have been better at, which is one of the reasons why I think we're in a good place, because we can get better and we will get better. We'll continue to get better, game by game, possession by possession. That's all we focus on is ourselves. Like no matter who our opponent is, we focus on us getting better because we hadn't had that opportunity throughout the course of a regular season. So I think we focus on ourselves, focus on things that we can do, can control, and that's it. Everything else will play itself out.
Last question, Brian Mahoney with the Associated Press.
Hey, James, last year at this point, you ran into, LeBron and AD. The year before, you hit the Warriors. You've seen some powerhouses in the second round the last couple of years. How do you evaluate this Bucks team compared to that? And, the team you have with you this time, do you feel more comfortable with?
Yeah, I mean, I've run into some very, very, very good teams, which is one of the reasons why I've been short. But they're a very good team. Very, they've had their core for some years now. And then they add Jrue and add, PJ and some other guys and Portis and things like that, Forbes. So they've had their core, and then they added some really good pieces, which is why they've been one of the best teams all year. So, but as you look at our roster, we're elite too, and it's going to be a showdown. But I'm more confident. I'm more than confident going into this postseason. Just because, obviously the roster and then our schemes and the things that we can control and the versatility that we have.
Thanks so much, James. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks,
Thank you,
James.
James.
Thanks, James.